Hello, future scientists. I received this problem from a viewer of mine that would like me to go over and solve it for you. It's a grade 12 problem on projectile motion in physics. Let's go through it. So here we have in a snowball fight, a person throws one snowball at 26 meters per second at an angle of 75 degrees above the horizontal. So here's my best drawing. So snowball, angle of, it's a very high angle, 75 degrees. So 75. It's always good to draw things out so you understand what's happening. So 26 meters per second. While the target, his friend, is watching the snowball, he throws another at a smaller angle at the same speed. Okay, I'm going to make a level ground here because it does say later on, right here, assume the snowballs land at the same level as the initial throw. So here we have our friend. He's going to throw a snowball at a much lower angle, like so, straight back at him. But we don't know what that lower angle is yet. And then both snowballs hit the friend at the same spot at the same time. So we have three parts to this question. Part A, what is the range of the first snowball? So we're just looking at this one here. Now because it's on level ground, our vertical displacement doesn't change, right? Because it lands at the same level as the initial throw. So in both cases, delta y is 0. What we want to know is the range. So how far away from here to here, which we'll call delta x. What's that range? Now to do this, we can use something called the range equation for projectiles that are thrown at an angle on level ground. And that is this equation here. So delta x equals initial velocity squared over g times the sine of 2 theta. Now, if you've never seen this equation before, you can hang on with me till the end of the video and I will derive it for you. But I do typically derive this for my students, so hopefully you have seen it before. If not, stay till the end of the video. But with this, we can easily just plug in the information. So we have 26 meters per second squared over g, so 9.81 meters per second squared times the sine of 2 times the angle, so 2 times 75 degrees. And that is going to give us, so let me get my calculator out here. So we've got 34.5 meters, or we can round that up to proper significant digits in this question, which would be 35 meters. So there's the answer to part A. I'm going to check. Next, at what angle was the second snowball thrown? This seems pretty complicated, but since they have the exact same range, let's look at this equation again, specifically our 2 theta right here. So what this tells you that if you want to maximize range, right, sine of 2 theta should equal 1, right, for maximum range. So sine of anything is equal to 1 when we have 90 degrees. So that means 2 theta equals 90 degrees, or theta equals 45 degrees. So to get maximum range, you need theta to be 45 degrees. Well, what happens if it's higher or lower than that? Well, the range doesn't go as far. In fact, if you're the same amount higher than you are lower, you get the same range. What does that mean? Let's just look at, imagine, for example, I'll do this on a separate graph. Imagine we throw something at 45 degrees. That's our maximum range. And it goes this far. Then if you go 10 degrees above that, so 55, it'll go something like this. Okay, so this would be at 55. This is our max at 45. But then if we go 10 degrees below 45 at 35, you get the exact same range as 55. And we can just try this out on our calculator. Let's try the sine of 2 theta on our calculators. But we're going to do it for 55. So if we plug in 55, that's the sine of 110. And if we plug in 35, 2 times 35 is 70. So the sine of 70. So let's try these both on our calculator. If I do the sine of 110, we get 0.939 and so on. And if you do the sine of 70, you get 0.939 and the exact same digits. So if we're having the exact same range here, where we have 75 from person 1, so 75 is exactly, if we have, let's say this is 45 degrees, 75 is an additional 45, 55, 65, 75, 30 degrees above 45. That means if this is our 45, this one must be exactly 30 degrees lower than that. So that means our angle is 15 degrees. So that would be the angle for part B. Finally, let's look at part C. This one says, how long was the second snowball thrown after the first? So for this, we are going to figure out the time it takes for the first snowball to hit their target. Let's call this delta T1. And then the time it takes for the second snowball to hit their target, delta T2. Now, even though the ranges are going to be the same, the time of flight for the one that is thrown higher is going to be higher, because it has more air time than the one that will be lower. So to figure this out, we actually don't have to use our y coordinates and our complex equations. We can use our x coordinates because gravity doesn't affect our velocity in x. So our velocity in x remains the same throughout the entire parabolic path. However, we are going to need to figure out what those x components are. So we need to figure out this x component of velocity and this x component of velocity. So let's start over here. So if this angle is 75 degrees, we're looking at this triangle here. Right, so we've got the hypotenuse is 26 and our angle is 75. Our x component is just going to be 26 cos 75. Similarly, for this one, it'll be 26 cos 15 degrees. Right, so we have delta x, or displacement, equals velocity, vx, times time. So let's do it for T1 first. All right, so if we're doing it for T1, we're just solving, so rearrange. So delta T1 is delta x divided by Vx, which is, so our range, delta x we determined over here is 35 meters. Then we're going to divide that by our x component for our first person, which is 26 cos 75. And, so calculators out, 5.2 seconds. So let's do the same for delta T2. Right, it would be delta x, which would be same, 35 meters. And then its Vx is 26 cos 15. So let's see what this time is. And we got 1.4 seconds. So our difference, we just subtract them. So 5.2 seconds minus 1.4 seconds. And we get 3.8 seconds. That means for them to hit at the same time, the second snowball is thrown 3.8 seconds after the first. So check. All right, so that's the answer to this question. If you want to watch now, I will show you where this equation comes from. This is going to take me more space, so here we go. So let's say we're shooting something, a projectile, on level ground. So delta y is going to be 0 because we start and stop at the same height. Now we're going to shoot a projectile with some initial velocity, vi, at some angle theta. So we can break that up into its components. So we have our vertical component, vi sine theta, and our horizontal component, vi cos theta. Now it goes some range delta x. And we can figure out, just as we did before, that time for the delta x range is going to be delta x divided by vx. But vx is right here as vi sine theta. Now we're also going to need to look at our y components. So our y components, we have this equation. So delta y equals viy, which is vi cos theta, times time plus 1/2 acceleration times time squared. All right, now delta y is actually going to be equal to 0. And so this range equation only works if you are on level ground. So that's why I was able to use it for this question. And then if we divide every term by one factor of time, and I can do that because I know time is not going to be 0. You never want to divide by 0, but time is definitely not 0. So we simplify a little bit. So we end up with 0 equals vi cos theta. And then we have plus 1/2 a. Now in this case, acceleration is the acceleration due to gravity, and I am making up positive. But what I'm going to do here is just say the acceleration is minus 9.81, but I'm going to call that negative g, where g is just having the value of 9.81. It's just something I do to help get rid of negatives. So then this becomes, yes, I know the negative's going to be there, so minus 1/2 g delta t, but then when I remove this or move this whole term to the other side of the equation, it just becomes 1/2 g delta t equals vi cos theta. Next, what I have to do is time I'm going to replace with this here. So I'm substituting one into the other. So we get 1/2 g. I'm going to use brackets when I substitute. So delta x over vi sine theta equals vi cos theta. Now I'm just going to leave delta x on this side. And on the other side, I'm going to multiply by vi. So so we get vi times vi. So we end up with vi squared. Then I'm going to divide by g. And I'm going to use brackets here just for a reason. You'll see. So here's the half. To get rid of it, I multiply both sides by 2. I multiply both sides by sine. Then we also have this cos theta. Now, if you love your trig identities in grade 12 advanced functions, you will recognize this as one of your double angle formulas. And it is equivalent to the sine of 2 theta. And there you have your range equation that I used in the beginning. So I hope that helps. If you have any more questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.